Hi, welcome back to HANA Developer channel. My name is Srikanth. In today's session, we're going to look at some of the common errors and fix when you start working on Web IDE for HANA developments. Web IDE for HANA is a development tool for XS Advanced Object Developments. In this tool, we have Workspace and DB Explorer. In Workspace, we create design time artifacts like tables, views, calculation views, and procedures, and etc. When we build those objects, they get created as runtime objects in database. You can access the database objects by going to Database Explorer. Here we can add a classic database or HA container-based database. And then we can access the SQL console and run the SQL statements to view the data or to perform any other DML operations. When I started working on Web IDE for HANA, I was getting different errors which were unrelated to my object syntax. The build used to get failed with those errors. Some of them related to the configurations in the YAML file configuration. Some of them related to the XS Advanced architecture related to organization and space, authorizations, and etc. I thought of consolidating all these errors at one place. I wrote a blog on this topic, and it is Common Errors and Fix in Web IDE for HANA developments. You can find this in community forums of SAP. So this explains 10 different errors with the problem, symptom, and root cause and fix as well. In this session, I'm going to go through all these errors while I do this activity on my system. So I'm going to access my Web IDE for HANA tool. So in here, I have created a basic MTA template project, which is common errors, and inside that I've created a DB module, which is HANA database module with no other objects created yet. If I start building this particular DB module from the build, I'm going to get a message saying that no space is defined for the project of the module. So which means in Cloud Foundry or in XS Advanced Server, is an organization and the space are always defined for any of the object developments. So for this project, I need to assign a space in order to get these objects saved there, and then the space will be mapped to a tenant database in HANA, so that the design time artifacts, when they get built or deployed, they are going to get created as runtime objects in that particular tenant database. So for that, with that explanation, so I need to define a space for this particular project in order to continue with my build of the objects. So I'm going to go to configuration settings and then choose space. So I have just one space here, defines development. So I'm going to choose this and say save. So that makes my project assigned to a space in XS Advanced. So that's the first error which I talked about in the blog. That's the error, and the root cause and the fix we just explained. Every project must be assigned to a space, and then the space will be mapped to a tenant database so that the proper objects deployment can happen to the database. The second error which is talked about, when you're trying to assign the space to a project, you get an error or couldn't retrieve any of the spaces like here as shown in this below screenshot. So I'm going to my Web IDE for HANA. Here you may not be able to find any space to assign to this particular project. Unable to reproduce, it takes time, but I can show you how could it happen. The root cause for that particular error is when you don't have rights, your user ID doesn't have rights on this particular space, you get this error. So you can check that by going to the XS Advanced cockpit, access the space, and see whether your user ID is being added as a member to that particular space. In this case, my user ID is being added, so I don't get the error, and I can see the development space to be provided as a mapping. If your ID is not there, you have to add as a member. You can just add a username and then say give the space developer role, and then you get the access to provide provide the space to the particular project. So that explains the second error. I'm just going to choose development and then continue with that, and it's going to say saved, and then I start building it. So it should be built now. I don't have any objects in it. It's just plain database module which is going to create a HDI container with schema. Build started and it is finished successfully. Okay, I'm going to go into the document and see the next error, which is about the namespace. Okay, let's go back to my Web IDE for HANA and start creating a table in my DB module. I'm going to say new file. I wanted to create a new table. I can say employee HDB table. This is a design time artifact, so I'm going to give the extension. You can grab the syntax from one of my existing projects. I'm going to choose from the other project here and just get the syntax to speed up my process, and then close it. I'm going to be there and say save. So just creating a simple HDB table as a design time objects, and I'm going to start building this one. Build started, and I guess giving an error. I can find the errors in the errors menu. So you can see that employee has to be prefixed with namespace. That's the error I got. You can also find the error from the log all. In this error log, you have to go to the first line in the error log to exactly reach to the error. So the first line of the error says has to be prefixed with a namespace. The root cause for this error is there is a namespace file automatically get created when you are taking the template of MTA. So you can access that by clicking on show hidden files. There are some of the files which are hidden by default, so you can show them there. So you can find this HDA namespace. It's saying the namespace is by default it is with the project name and the module name associated together. So the system is saying, the MTA project is saying to attach or to prefix this particular name when you're defining a table, so that the table to any object for that instance, for that matter. So in this case it's a table. So I'm going to take this particular name and then attach or prefix to the employee table. So I'm going to use double quotes to make sure my lower case and uppercase are properly taken care. I'm going to end with this double quote and then say the 2 colons. So if I'm going to start build this object now, it should get built successfully. The build has been started and it is successful. So basically namespace is used to uniquely identify any objects in a project. If you don't want to make the big naming convention associated for each object you're developing in this project, you can remove that, and then you have to be very sure that your names are unique in nature in your database module or in a project. So in that case you can remove everything for the namespace and you can completely get rid of the namespace itself. So I'm going to just delete the namespace file and then keep the table name itself and then start building that. I'm going to save that and then I'm going to start build it. Build has been started and it should make the build successful. Build has been successful. So that now the table is being created as just employee without any prefix to the naming convention. Thanks for watching, and if you wanted to access the rest of the session or the full training content of XSA Advanced, please reach out to me at surampallys@gmail.com. Thank you.